It's Monday, November 10th, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. High concerns for flooding and landslides. This is going to be a significant flood threat over the next couple of days. This is the area we've been highlighting since earlier last week. You can see the rain that's been building in Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Belize, and then lifting back through the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico. The Cayman Islands will see some additional showers trying to squeak in. In Jamaica, keeping a very close eye on this, especially in the wake of Melissa. I am not seeing this developing into something tropical, and for Jamaica, I'm seeing most of the rain staying to the south and west, but I'll keep a close eye on it because this rain will continue to build to the north. But in this pocket in here, significant flooding, in particular Belize and Honduras, and then parts of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama as we go over the next couple of days. A surge of moisture. What's going on here is we have a front dropping in from the north. I'll show you that as well. A big wind maker, cold air, parts of Canada and the U.S. I'll cover that as well in this video. But this is the surge in through here that I'm highly concerned about, especially right through Belize and Honduras for some significant, if not life-threatening rain and flooding in some spots, especially due to the mudslide or landslide threat that we're going to see on this. Now, Belize, it's really going to depend on location. Eastern and southern sections, a better chance of getting some of the rain. Really, Belize City south through Punta Gorda, that's where we could see some of the heavier rain with some totals for 3-day totals of 100 millimeters to 150 millimeters of rain, or 4 to 6 inches of some rain. We swing back toward Guatemala, interior sections, some pockets over 150 millimeters of rain, as high as 200 millimeters of rain. Guatemala watching that flood threat carefully as well. In this pocket here, northern Honduras, right where we get the change in direction in some of the winds, including the islands, watching out for some totals that could be as high as 250 millimeters of rain or 10 inches of rain or higher. As I watch this, I may put out some additional videos. If you're subscribed, you'll get the notification to that. But I do appreciate you spreading the word through Belize, Honduras, Guatemala in particular, and south as well, because why it's not quite as widespread. Well, it's not as widespread in Nicaragua, for example. Western sections not as much. More in our eastern sections where we get it, still very heavy. Watching Costa Rica and Panama, especially closer to the Caribbean, where we will have some totals over 200 millimeters of rain or 8 inches of rain. And again, this is just over the next 2 to 3 days. So this rain is going to build in through here. Here's the front dropping in, bringing the colder weather to Florida, parts of the Bahamas, and Cuba. As this front works in, it helps that surge of moisture just feed in. Elsewhere, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Antigua, Barbuda, kind of spotty showers, but this is the core of rain. Keeping an eye on Jamaica, heaviest action to the south and west. Not to say we're not going to see some scattered areas of rain and storms. Cayman Islands and Jamaica, we'll have some as that front nears, but once again by tomorrow, look at that pocket of rain as this front drops in to the central and southern Bahamas. It just enhances that chance of rain right through here. Here's Honduras, and there's that pocket, parts of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama in through here. Additional very, very heavy rain. Again, the river's on the rise, watching out for the mud and rock slide potential. So I really appreciate you getting the word out of this, about this. We don't need a name system to cause big issues, and you can see how it sticks around for days. This is on Wednesday. This area is still here for the most part. It even builds back a little bit Wednesday into Thursday. We could see some of that rain building back toward the Yucatan Peninsula and Mexico right in here. Still some additional rain for Honduras, in Nicaragua, southern sections south through Costa Rica, even Panama. Additional rain. That's because of the front here. The front here bringing some of the spotty showers as well, just kind of leftover ones in the southern sections of the Bahamas by the time we get into Thursday. Hit or miss elsewhere, but you can see the days and days of rain that we'll be tracking. It is tied to this, weather tied together on such a large scale. We have this working through New England in the Atlantic region of Canada, dipping down toward Bermuda, the Bahamas. This is that big front that is bringing the colder air. I want to show you the winds for the Atlantic region of Canada and the northeast U.S. I'm going to zoom in just a second, because as this kind of winds up and lifts up, not only rain and some snow in the backside, but really strong winds. This is our Tuesday Atlantic region of Canada, and there's the front. You can see the line of it all the way down through the Bahamas and Cuba, and with it that colder air that's back behind it as we work our way over the next couple of days. And you can see the surge of cold weather, Celsius and Fahrenheit, on the map right here. This is where the front stands by about 4 o'clock this afternoon, where you kind of see that lighter shade of yellow right in there, the cold air just plunging down. We've already seen it in parts of Mexico, and then the front drops down farther as we work our way into tomorrow morning. So by tomorrow morning, that front sitting very close to Bermuda, sweeping through parts of the Bahamas, Cuba, and then swinging back toward Mexico and parts of central Mexico with some cold air, 20s and 30s, dipping all the way down to parts of Florida, Fahrenheit, and then that cold weather plunge. It's going to be cold tomorrow morning, especially as you get back toward Mexico City. You'll notice that big change, not only through the day today, but by tomorrow morning. So you could kind of pick where you are in this map and see that temperature change based on the scale. Now, here are the winds on the broad picture, Canada and parts of the U.S. I want to zoom down in just a second, but you can see the change in direction. Here's the Gulf, those winds coming out of the north. You see that as well. Winds very sharp coming off out of the northwest, east coast of the United States. That's the change in direction in through here. One of the reasons we have that flooding with that change in direction in some of the winds, with that high concern of flooding. And then you see these strong winds by the time we get deeper into Tuesday, coming off of, say, Cape Cod, lifting up toward Nova Scotia, Bermuda. Those winds are going to be kicking around. So as promised, here's a closer look. You get from Newfoundland back through New Brunswick, back through New England. This is by the time we get into tomorrow morning. It's going to be colder, of course, with that rain will be around in spots. But look at these winds, gusty winds, 50 miles per hour, Cape Cod and the islands. That'll be a potential. Same thing as we work our way to the north, but even more so, you get toward Newfoundland, watching Nova Scotia, even Prince Edward Island, strong winds. But some of these reds in here, we're going to have some of the gust around 110 kilometers an hour or 70 miles per hour. So really strong winds as that system kind of winds up, and it shows you how strong of a front it is. With that said, the seas are really building. Gulf, Caribbean, Atlantic waters. This is later today. Things get really rough in some spots. You see it here, watching over toward the Western Caribbean, where that rain's building. Dangerous seas in through here, including parts of the Cayman Islands, the Bahamas, and off the coast of the U.S. That front presses by, so those big swells, high seas in Bermuda. By the time we get into Wednesday, still choppy to rough central and western Caribbean as we work our way into the middle of the week. So the front sweeping by, with that the colder air, but then drier conditions taking hold as you get back toward parts of the southeast U.S. This is where we're on the edge of the rain, watching the Cayman Islands and Jamaica very carefully. But still, if we get a couple downpours, a quick 25 millimeters of rain will be a potential. Watching that as well, parts of Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. Kind of spotty in this sector, St. Kitts and Nevis, back through Anegada, down through St. Croix, Antigua, Barbuda, and Anguilla. Same thing, Dominica South. There will be some spotty showers. We may get a couple 3-day totals of about 50 millimeters of rain. Most of us will be left less than that, but northeastern sections of Venezuela, Guyana, northern Suriname, higher rain chance, especially Guyana, northern and central sections. And of course, this is what I was highlighting earlier, right at the beginning of the video, with the potential of some life-threatening flooding. We've been seeing this building the last several days, and now we're starting to see it really taking shape. So again, getting the word out about the flood potential. Those are that kind of in those areas susceptible to flooding or even mudslides. Thank you for letting them know. Again, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama in particular. Scattered areas of rain, watching the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, and then extreme southern sections of Mexico. But to the north, we're dry. We're dry in Texas, no doubt. Some of that cooler air across Texas, chilly back through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, with that colder weather. Here's that system that will be sweeping by New England. May get about an inch of rain, but the cold air, the big story, the gusty winds as well. And then watching out for some of the totals of about 100 millimeters of rain, even more than that. Parts of the Atlantic region of Canada, Canada. And I mentioned those strong winds that will be around, especially as we work our way into tonight and into tomorrow. So Jamaica, we have a 40% chance of rain today, about a 50% chance for tomorrow. And you see how it does bump up some with that moisture around the Cayman Islands, especially Grand Cayman. We'll see a better chance of getting some of the rain. Trinidad and Tobago, 40% chance of rain today. We have about a 50% chance tomorrow. Barbados, we're looking at a 20% chance. The next couple of days in St. Lucia, rain chance holding at 20%, 20 to 30% chance in Grenada. We get back through St. Vincent the Grenadines, a 30% chance of a shower today and a 20% chance tomorrow. Martinique, rain chance today, passing variety at 40%. Dominica, 40% chance today and a 30% chance tomorrow. The next couple of days in Guadeloupe, rain chance at 30%. We swing to the north, Antigua, Barbuda today and tomorrow, rain chance holding at 40%. Isolated showers possible, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, a 40% chance of a passing shower today. Anguilla and St. Bart's, a 30% chance over the next 2 days. St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. Isolated showers possible, even a rumble of thunder. That could bring us a brief downpour in parts of Puerto Rico, a 30% chance, a 30% chance today. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and a 20% chance for tomorrow. Same thing through the Bahamas. Again, the big thing in the Bahamas, the higher seas and the chilly weather working in. Colder northern Bahamas, a little bit warmer as we get to the south. Turks and Caicos with that front pressing closer. The rain chance will be getting higher tomorrow into the middle of the week. And you see that as well. The Dominican Republic, about a 50% chance of rain on Wednesday. Haiti, a 30% chance over the next few days. All eyes on Belize, upwards of an 80% chance of rain today. A few of us, those pockets, maybe northwestern sections, not as much, but really intense rain, those tropical downpours, the flooding concerns. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, rain chance staying on the small side today, running at 20%. We swing back toward Guyana. Again, that elevated chance of rain sticks around over the next 3 days, even a 50% chance in Suriname. Rain chance in Cuba at about 40%, favoring eastern sections with that front, and it will be colder. Costa Rica and Panama, I mentioned, closer to the Caribbean, higher chance of rain. Panama, western sections, higher chance of that flooding. Watching that as well. Nicaragua, some flooding could be intense, especially southeastern sections closer to the Caribbean. And then, of course, watching Honduras, a very high chance of rain. This rain does include, by the way, San Andres and Providencia for some really high totals, which we'll be monitoring. Guatemala and El Salvador, the highest chance will actually be today, upwards of a 70% chance of rain today. Mexico City, mainly on the dry side. Yucatan Peninsula, some spotty showers will be possible and some chillier weather. Northern Colombia, rain chance 60%. In northern Venezuela, a 50% chance, but a little higher northeastern sections of Venezuela. And then in Bermuda, watching that front that will be passing by as we head into our Tuesday tomorrow. So a significant flood threat, Belize, Honduras, but I mentioned the other locations as well. Guatemala, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. Keeping an eye on El Salvador for some flooding, monitoring the mudslides, the landslides, that cold front dropping in, kind of combining with everything, allowing that flood threat to build. But with that, cooler weather in some sections of the northern Caribbean, those high and dangerous seas with us, and that big chill with us through parts of Canada and the U.S., and those high winds coming off of New England, and especially for the Atlantic region of Canada. So I'll monitor the flooding throughout the day. Thank you for spreading the word and being part of this weather community. Be safe if you're in some of these flood zones. Have a good day ahead.